governing the activities. Ahead of the registration exercise, the Commission will deploy 8,000 biometric voter registration kits into the field. The kits have been thoroughly tested, and we are confident that they will function efficiently and ensure a smooth and speedy registration of each applicant. We envisage that the robustness of the kits, as well as the extensive training offered, each applicant should not spend more than 10 minutes going through the registration process. We have deployed over 5,000 technicians to the field and set up zonal centers all across the country. These centers will be manned by our technicians, and it is expected that they will ensure a prompt and timely replacement of faulty kits in the field. We believe that with this approach, we should witness a smooth and seamless voters' registration exercise. I'll now turn my attention to the mode of registration. The cluster system will be used for the voters' registration exercise. A cluster consists of 5 registration centers or polling stations in a district. In total, 6,788 clusters, made up of 5 polling stations each, will be covered. This means that all 33,367 registration centers will be covered during the registration exercise. The registration will take place simultaneously in all 16 regions of Ghana. The entire registration will be undertaken in 5 phases. Each phase will span a duration of 6 days. In effect, a registration team will spend 6 days at each of the 5 centers of the cluster, thus making 30 days for each cluster. We would have an additional 6 days which would be used for the mopping up exercise. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Commission has published the movement plan on its website and in the newspapers today. We would urge you to go onto our website and study the movement plan to enable you ascertain when the registration team would visit your registration center. Distinguished guests, it is important to emphasize at this time the transparency of our processes and to allay the fears of our stakeholders. Over the years, a number of mechanisms have been built into our processes to tighten the loose screws and to ensure transparency and accountability from the registration of voters to the declaration of results. For the purposes of this exercise, I'll focus on the transparency embedded into our registration process. Indeed, before the Electoral Commission commences any registration process, it has to provide all registered political parties with a 21 days notice of its intention to compile or update the register. This is to afford political parties the opportunity to train and assign agents to the various registration centers. The agents of the political parties remain at the registration centers from the start of the process to the end. At the beginning of each day, the Electoral Commission officer starts the machine or kits in the presence of political party agents. The kits show the date, time, and a record of the number of persons who have registered. In all cases, at the start of the day, that number is 0. At the end of each day, the kit generates a printout that gives the total number of persons who have been registered in a day. Each political party is given a copy of the printout. The Electoral Commission forwards the same copy to its database. Additionally, political parties may on their own record the number of persons who are registered per day. This enables them to confirm their own records against the printout from the Electoral Commission. Indeed, any party with this information can set up its own system to track and record the number of applicants who have been registered across the nation on a daily basis. It is important to note that the entire registration process is also monitored by various observer groups. And this year, we've seen a good number of observer groups who have shown interest in monitoring the process. We believe this will further strengthen our processes. Distinguished citizens, as a commission which believes in law and order, peace and stability, we have engaged regularly with the security agencies through the mechanism of the Election Security Task Force. We are confident that our early and regular engagements will yield positive gains and cause us to witness a peaceful and violence-free exercise. On our part, we call on all Ghanaians to work with us to ensure a peaceful registration exercise. Members of the press, dear citizens, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a rather lengthy speech, but I hope it has addressed the most important issues relating to the 2020 voter registration exercise. On behalf of the Electoral Commission of Ghana, I thank all our stakeholders, namely the leaders of our religious bodies, traditional authority, civil society, the media, and all well-meaning Ghanaians for their support over the months. I'd also like to thank all of you for your time and the opportunity to speak to you. We look forward to seeing all of you at the registration centers with your face masks firmly in place as we embark upon this all-important exercise. We will carry out this exercise efficiently and safely, God being our helper. I wish you all a blessed evening. May God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make our nation great and strong. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very, very much, Mrs. Jane Mensah, Chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Ghana. We thank you for the comprehensive address. At this juncture, I'd like to call on Mr. Samuel Bwedu to lead us in a word of prayer, the closing prayer. Thank you. your name continue to be praised. In Jesus' name. God say amen. Thank you very much for coming. God bless you. Thank you very much. We've come to the end of the press conference. Now I would like for you to wait for the commission to move out of the conference room before we all leave. Thank you.